administration. Thanks for joining us.
Oh no, not this.
Wait, bring a picture of him at like Coachella or whatever.
Chat, you know the one. Chat, you know the one. Oh God, I hate this piece so much.
Crime is
The
just a
reality
concept.
TV star president did all he could to cancel this particular episode. But today, reality is exactly what caught up with Donald Trump as he made the long, ignominious journey through the city that made him to hear the opening arguments in the criminal case against him.
I love when British people cover American news.
Ignominious.
I love it. I don't like it always has like this air of like David Attenborough looking at monkeys vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like we are literally monkeys. And of course, as much as I have a lot of smoke for England in general and British people in general, the British accent does always have that air of like elitism.
Now, defendant Trump will be judged by a jury of his Manhattan peers in the first criminal case against a former president in American history. But in true Trump style, he used the moment to attempt to steal the limelight for political gain, not shy away from it.
This is done as election interference. Everybody knows it. I'm here instead of being able to be in Pennsylvania and Georgia and lots of other places campaigning. What's going on right here should never be happening. It's a very, very sad day in America. I can tell you that.
Very
A sad day in his eyes, but a just one for those who say holding Trump to account is long overdue. Ironically, this case centers on Trump's alleged actions to interfere in the 2016 election, just as he's campaigning.
Oh, he's
Lighting
hot.
is crazy.
He's so hot on
face.
this. That's crazy. She got bored and just like casually walked over here, knowing full well that you would give her pets. She is so goddamn manipulative. Oh God, I love her so much. She's the best. Kaya committing crimes after you endorse them. Surprise. True.
To win the next one in November.
In the tale of the porn star, the president, and the payout.
At the heart of the story is an alleged sexual encounter nearly 20 years ago with Stormy Daniels, a former adult film star who claims she had a brief affair with Donald Trump.
Did you want to have sex with him?
No.
She did.
But I didn't say no. I'm not a victim. I'm not.
She did. She's lying.
It was entirely consensual.
Oh, yes.
She says she was paid hush money to keep quiet when she threatened to go public with her story just ahead of the 2016 election. The money was paid by Michael Cohen, Trump's then lawyer, who later admitted to lying about the payments and served time in jail for that and other offenses. He'll be the prosecution's star witness in the trial, and if the past is anything to go by, he'll be only too happy to tell the jury who he claims made him do it.
First of all, nothing at the Trump Organization was ever done unless it...
I've gone on his podcast.
really?
Yeah. It's my mea culpa.
That's his pod.
Have you ever heard his? Oh my God, I can't believe this is the first time I'm showing you. This is great. I'm glad that you're seeing it.
It sounds like a combo of like the Sopranos intro and like True Detective.
Okay, that's too much. That's too much. It's gonna make us start thinking Michael Cohen's a good dude overall, which you probably do think because he's a defense attorney.
He's a loser, big time.
No,
loser
bro. What do you mean? He defends people.
Big loser.
He defends people from going to prison.
Couldn't defend himself from going to prison.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's because he was too good of a lawyer when you think about it.
I think that's not true at all.
That's because he was too good of a lawyer, and
Couldn't even do fraud, right?
I'm just saying he was meeting his client's expectations. I would, if you were my lawyer, I would want you to operate like Michael Cohen.
Yeah, you want me to rat on you?
No, not
Testify
like now.
against
Not
you?
now. Not the way he's operating now. But like he is the most Saul Goodman ass lawyer, dude.
What are you talking about?
He did it. What do you mean? Go ahead. Explain why he's not good.
Oh, this thing is sick.
Yeah, that one's tough.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Go ahead. Come on.
I don't have anything to say.
No, go ahead. Criticize my goat, my friend of the show.
Cohen, friend of the show.
I've been on his
Michael Cohen.
podcast. I haven't been on yours. Just remember that.
I just think, I don't know. It's like disingenuous to go to work for the guy and then, get caught with your pants down and then be like,
Oh, that's why you're mad.
oh, actually, you know what, guys? I paid the piper. I did my time. And now I'm here to be a liberal darling. I don't fuck with that.
Okay, I got it. All right, so you're actually mad he wasn't like loyal all the way to the end.
No, I don't necessarily care about that, but like, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't like
was
snitches.
one
I agree.
for Mr. Trump.
Fair.
He directed me to make the payments. He directed me to become involved in these matters.
I never directed him to do anything.
What is he talking about?
As a 53-year-old adult, I was groomed by Donald Trump to do illegal things in a Discord server. He told me he'd be showing me classified documents later down the line. Who amongst us has not fallen to his beautiful charisma?
His charm.
Anything wrong. Whatever he did on his own. He's a lawyer.
The problem for Donald Trump is that he paid Cohen back in a series of checks that the prosecution alleges were wrongly classified as legal expenses. And it's those payments that are critical to the criminal charges against Trump now.
Hush money payments to
What is that?
He's a Black Panther.
He knows that he's being unjustly prosecuted.
He's serving so hard.
This is a political prosecution.
He's serving.
Disgusting.
He's serving. How badly would you have wanted to be on his team? Think about it.
It would be funny.
It would be awesome.
But I could never come back from it. But it would be very funny.
Hit up Dan. Hit up Danny Boy and be like, listen, bro, one last big mission. Okay? Before I hang up the reins.
No, they would. He would,
one last job.
He would blame it all on me when it all went sideways. Just like Huey Newton, they're coming after me.
Yeah, you would probably be the only Jewish lawyer on his team. I feel like he went through and burned through every Jewish lawyer in New York and only has Catholic Italian men now.
Just the Goombas.
Have you've seen his legal team?
I don't know, honestly, because they get fired so often that I don't know if
like
the most recent people
like Taco
I've seen.
Penis. He's gone. Taco Penis was his guy.
Taco Penis?
You don't know about Taco Penis?
No, what the
Joey Taco Penis. Hey, how you doing? That's right. I'm Donald Trump's lawyer over here.
No idea what you're about.
Yeah, I'm Joey Taco Penis. That's the real guy that was Trump's lawyer. I love him. He had because his Rolodex is burned with all of the lawyers that he has used and abused for years.
He's just not a type. I mean, for many reasons, I wouldn't want to represent him, but like, you don't want someone who's just gonna, is gonna dog you. You know,
yeah.
Like, why would you want to represent him?
I don't really understand how like people still work with him when they know. I guess they think like I'll get a podcast or like a book deal or something.
Yeah, maybe. Especially because if they triumph, right? That's huge. Then they definitely get a book.
Trump's got a good argument for the classified documents case, like prosecuting a former president for a document crime is actually bullshit. Is saying that the horse crap document classification system can be used against a president just a crap argument.
I think to be honest, I think this is a pretty weak case also.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a weak one. But
and I think
but this isn't even like there's no criminal. Like there's no real jail time for this. Like,
yeah, well, here's the thing. This is the lowest level felony. This is E-level felony, lowest level felony in New York that they can hit him with.
Yeah.
And just to give you, it's like a useful example, not necessarily for chat, but maybe for your conservative, who's this?
It's,
maybe for
Alina
your
Habba.
Conservative family members. They're hitting him with 34 counts of fraud. You know, this is what they do, right? They make it seem, they blow it up to make it seem like it's a bigger deal. Each count is just like a check or like a change in the ledger. That's what all the counts are. Right. So it's like every check that was written, that's an individual count. So they're like, we're hitting him with 34 felonies. But the thing that they're not saying is that in order to get to the felony status, they have to get the jury to agree that he did all this shit with the intention of impacting the election. And the thing about that is
there's a good argument for that. Though.
I think there's a good argument. Okay, go ahead.
Not to get all MSNBC on your ass right now. If you're like gonna be like Mr. Here's the law to a T in this situation, there certainly is a very solid there's certainly a very solid argument that you can make that he absolutely was not doing this to shelter the truth from, and in former cases they have been able to successfully defend, shelter the truth from his wife.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple instances, like for example, when he says, when he talks about how he doesn't want to pay her until after the election, like where his behavior of routinely trying to not pay people,
his funds were just wrapped up. That's all.
No, he literally says, well, after the election, we don't even have to pay her. So like, let's just wait until after the election, try to hold off. Like that is a very clear indication. Obviously, the other part is that like trying to shelter this, like trying to shield your wife from this truth, like, or your family because of you want to save them the embarrassment.
Sure.
That's one thing, but you also like hid the assets. Like you hid the financial transaction in a way with campaign funds.
Yeah,
right?
no,
so like
I
you did
understand.
not have to do that. There's other ways of trying to hide the truth, not from the public overall, but instead from just like your friends and family, without it becoming like without it becoming something that has like electoral consequence, which is pretty funny because we know about it and it didn't matter.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. I mean, that's kind of my thing. Like, if I were on the defense team, right? I think a big thing for this was they were talking about, you know, how much the prosecution is gonna try to talk about the Access Hollywood tape and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
and it's like that was out there, if you remember, at this time, right? And it's not like in 2016. This is my thing on the defense side. Sometimes it's useful when you have somebody, in this case, where it's reputational and it kind of hinges on his reputation. Did Donald Trump have a sterling reputation in 2015, 2016? Was he known as like a good, honest, forthright man, or was he, holy shit, let's go. Thank you.
Let's keep watching.
To conceal an affair may sound unsavory, but they're not illegal in the United States. To win a conviction and possible sentence in this case, prosecutors have to prove that Donald Trump paid the money to keep the news of the affair from becoming public and hurting his chances in the upcoming 2016 election. What prosecutors today in court described as a cover-up, an illegal conspiracy, they said, to undermine the integrity of a presidential election.
Donald Trump has always denied the affair with Stormy Daniels and claims the hush money was only paid to her to protect his family. In their opening statement today, his lawyers claim the former president was cloaked in innocence and that Stormy Daniels had simply used her story to make money in the run-up to the 2016 election. Even if he's convicted, lawyers say it's unlikely Trump will face jail time, and he could even get a boost in his election campaign.
This is actually a pretty good thing for Donald Trump, if you look at it from his point of view. He comes before the United States of American people, gives a presser every day. He says, this is a witch hunt. They're unfair. They're trying to interfere with my ability to be your president. And he has those themes every single day that he says them on news media, and it's broadcast. So, does it hurt him? Maybe, but does it help him? I think it's almost a car ride to the White House.
That's Trump's hope for sure.
I think it went very well.
But 6 weeks of this case, not to mention 3 other criminal trials in the wings, could yet derail the dramatic season finale that he's been hoping for.
Well, towards the end of the hearing, the prosecution introduced their first witness, a man named David Piker, who was the owner of the tabloid newspaper, the National Enquirer, and who testified that he paid for stories that painted Trump in a negative light to kill them, what Piker referred to as checkbook journalism, and that prosecutors will try to portray as part of a scheme, a conspiracy theory to help Donald Trump win the election in 2016. We'll hear more from Piker tomorrow. Trump's lawyers, of course, are claiming that there was nothing criminal at all.
Wait, what? Guys, it's really awkward that I won't be live streaming tomorrow because I have some stuff I need to do. I won't be live streaming tomorrow because I have some other obligations.
All in Trump's conduct. I have a spoiler alert, his lawyer told the jurors. There's nothing wrong, he said, with trying to influence an election. It's called democracy. The trial is expected to last for about 6 weeks. Even if Trump is convicted, it will not stop him, of course, from running for president. There is no law against that, but it will force voters for the very first time to decide if...
That objectively is one of the best parts about America. Like, one of the best rules in America is that, like, you can't run from prison. Even if you are a convicted criminal, you can still run for president, which I think
Debs ran from a jail cell. I think that was the biggest, right? The biggest showing ever, like 1 million votes or something.
Yeah, biggest showing ever for a socialist in general, I think, in America. I do love that.
I tried to get you this. I have this copy of his speech that he gave at his trial,
Really?
which is pretty famous, one of my favorite speeches. And I tried to, but I didn't want to give you mine because it's like old. And I wasn't going to give it to you because I don't think you have earned that yet.
Wow,
But,
that's fucked up. I open my house to you. I get my dad to cook you my meal. I break bread with you, and this is how you repay the kindness.
all right, in due time.
Wow.
In due time.
Dude, no, that's cool, man. Cool. I'm not upset. Chat might be upset with you, but
No, Chad agrees.
I don't think they
I want
do.
you to be your best self.
Only counts for federal crimes, right? No, I think you can still, no, even if you're in state prison for a state crime, you can still run for president. Tiger King did that. No, what only counts for federal crimes is that even though it is unprecedented, so much of this is unprecedented, technically Donald Trump could pardon himself, is what like legal experts are currently going back and forth on, only for federal crimes. He can actually pardon himself for state crimes. Different states have different mechanisms for that pardoning process. Some of them only the governor is allowed to do so. So that's why the Georgia case is actually pretty awesome in general, because it is one that he genuinely cannot pardon himself out of, and it's televised, which I think is dope. Pussy ass judge taking his sweet ass time, dude. When that happens, I'm gonna make you my roaming correspondent.
Yeah, go down.
No, we're gonna sit in the studio and cover it from here. Even though I said Roman correspondent, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna do legal analysis every day. Yeah, remember that little back and forth that we just had about Trump being criminally liable? Yeah, get ready for that, big boy. I'm gonna be debating you on crimes.
Want me to defend the law?
Yeah, I'm gonna make you do the unthinkable, which is take the side.
I refuse.
No,
Even with Trump, when I hear about the case, I'm thinking about it from like defense side and just like what the case is, how weak it is.
I know you came out swinging.
I'm like, nah, bullshit. Look, you got exposed.
There's Trump's lawyer. No, I think he's a witness, chap.
To put a criminal defendant, a criminal felon, into the White House.
Thanks, Siobhan. Well, joining us now is Neil Katyal, a law professor who was the acting Solicitor General during the Obama administration. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, no, not this.
Wait, picture of him at like Coachella or whatever.
Chat, you know the one. Chat, you know the one. Oh, God, I hate this fucking piece of shit so much. You're the only debate pervert I think is decent. Like because I always say like lawyers are debate perverts.
I don't like debating.
And the higher you get up in the lawyer ranking, the more perverted you are in debating. That's why like Supreme Court justices of the United States are the biggest debate perverts on the planet.
Yeah, but what's this? I heard someone told me recently that you were calling me, that you were saying that I was a disciple of the Dersh, is what you said.
Oh, no. People in the chat were saying that, and I was actually defending you. I was like, that's a bridge too far.
They were chat was calling me.
Yeah, there were people in the chat saying that you're Alan Dershowitz's disciple, and I was like, I don't know about that. I think that's too much to slander one man with. There he is. Burning Man, baby.
Oh, he's Burning Man. Yeah, hell yeah. So much swag.
Yeah.
With this, if you will, because you look at this cast of characters and they're people who either paid hush money, took hush money, paid people for stories, were proven liars. I mean, how would you establish any credibility in your witnesses if you were prosecuting this?
Yeah, I think that the prosecution has a really simple story, and it doesn't just depend on the credibility of witnesses. It depends on tangible evidence, including the checks. It's very hard for Trump to explain what in the world was going on with these checks. It was to the point where Michael Cohen, Trump's lawyer, took out a home equity loan on his own house, on Michael Cohen's house, in order to pay off Stormy Daniels. Now, I know thousands of lawyers. I've never heard of anything like that. No lawyer does that kind of thing.
Lawyers?
So the idea that this is like Michael...
What?
You should meet some better lawyers.
No, me. I don't know him. Didn't he do something with like child slavery?
I think he was the one. He was the one who was defending
Nestle or something.
Child slavery. Yeah. The image of Neil Katyal, the Supreme Court attorney who, among other things, successfully defended a company's use of overseas child slave labor. It was. I think it was the classic. Oh, technically, these these child slaves, these former child slaves, cannot sue our corporation because we hired outside third-party help, and they are the ones who they outsource the child slavery through a third party.
That's what all these companies do.
So technically, it doesn't count, and
Because
he did
they-
that successfully. Cool guy,
Legal king.
cool guy.
Cohen acting on his own or something like that is really difficult. And I think it's the tangible evidence that makes it really hard. Trump could try and tell that story. He could try and get on the stand and say, I didn't do this. It's all Michael Cohen's idea. There are two problems with that. One is, it's just very hard to just tell that story. Why in the world is your lawyer taking out a home equity loan and all of that? But the second is the judge today, before the trial started, in what's known as a Sandoval decision, said if he takes the stand, the prosecutors can ask.
So Sandoval is meant to give notice to a person who's being accused something of everything that they might elicit if they testify. So it's just like the stuff that they want to talk about. And in this case, the stuff they were looking at was, issues of his character, the Access Hollywood tape, stuff like that. They have to give notice of the type of questions they're going to ask if someone's going to testify. FYI. Legal.
Okay, nerd.
I'm just telling you. I just want them to know.
No, thank you. That was actually very valuable.
Him about Eugene Carroll and the verdict against him. They can ask him about the gag order and all the violations and what the judge in that case said about how Trump is not credible. They can ask about the New York Attorney General's fraud investigation, which found that he had inflated his assets.
Yeah.
All of that
So
is
it's not
fair
going to
game.
happen. I mean,
Correct.
what we know from the defense opening statement is that that their defense is he didn't know. That this was all Michael Cohen, and he'd asked his attorney to sort of handle a problem, a perfectly legitimate problem of sort of making somebody go away with false claims. How he did it was up to the lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I'm a pretty good lawyer. I can't imagine being able to sell that.
He's like, come on, I'm a pretty good lawyer. I defended child slavery successfully.
I killed it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Story to a jury, at least a jury based on planet Earth. But you're absolutely right. That's one defense Trump's lawyer trotted out in the opening statement today. The other is the one that your correspondent just mentioned, which is, hey, I have a spoiler alert. There's nothing wrong with trying to influence an election. It's called democracy. And again, I think Trump's going to have a difficult time with that because the question under the law is how you influence an election. If I bribe people, if I give them $1 million to vote for me, that's influencing an election, but it's illegal every day of the week. And
that is my favorite type of thing that Trump finds himself having to do all the time because he always runs out of options because he's the most incompetent criminal. They always go, Your Honor, I didn't know that was illegal. And if it was, then it shouldn't be. It's great. I feel like that is not a very valid argument to make when you're standing.
Ignorance of the law is not a defense, Hasan.
Yeah, it's but
Very
you're
sadly.
also in, you're currently, there's a jury, okay? You're standing in trial. Obviously, that if that argument worked, you wouldn't be there, right? The grand jury would have tossed it aside.
Yeah. Well, but also, I don't want to give any credit to grand juries, okay? Fuck grand juries.
Yeah. The grand jury would, indict a ham sandwich?
Indict a ham's very good. Yeah. That's an old one.
Yeah.
Very easy to get an indictment. Doesn't mean necessarily this case is strong. I gotta throw it in. I gotta listen. I gotta do my job.
I should have never brought this fucking
gotta
piece
do
of
my
shit
job.
here, dude.
Guys, I gotta do my job. Which I don't have one currently.
Yeah.
Ham sandwich knows what it did. Someone said
nobody would call it democracy. Similarly here, if you're influencing the election in a way by taking secret money and a secret catch and kill scheme with a publication, that is not, at least any American election that I've heard of that, comports with the law.
And just briefly, how long do you think this is going to go on?
It's because when the Clintons catch and kill, they actually do murder. Am I right? That's right.
Thank you.
Clinton crime family.
I think we're talking about 4 to 6 weeks of a trial, in part because of all that documentary evidence that we were talking about earlier.
And then appeals, they can go on for what?
Correct. So the appeals will go on for at least a year or two, possibly even 3. So this is a long, long process. We're still only at the start of it, but today was a very significant day in moving the ball forward on the resolution of Donald Trump's crimes here.
President Biden is urging the Senate to move quickly to approve the foreign aid.
Do you have any last words on that front? You wanted to defend Trump? You have defended Trump.
I have not defended Trump.
You defended Trump a lot.
I was just talking about the case. I mean, here's the truth. Like, it doesn't move the needle for me. I think ultimately, obviously, it's unprecedented and it's a wild thing that's happening. But how many people? I think that it's pretty disingenuous to, with a straight face, say that this isn't a political situation. This isn't a political of course it's a political prosecution. It's all hands on deck. They don't like this guy. They're coming after this guy, clearly. And yeah, he may have committed crimes.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Is that like he did do that?
Yes,
though.
he did do that. But I think that will there be accountability for other corrupt politicians? Probably not. I hope there is. Be careful and be mindful of applauding these systems in the rare circumstances where something swings your way, because most of the time this is not happening. Most of the time people who are being brutalized by these things by grand juries,
Translation,
are
they're not
Donald
coming
Trump.
after him. They're coming after you.
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
just standing in the
He's
way.
standing in the way.
Yeah, that's right, baby. Go ahead. Go on. Keep telling how you're not defending Donald Trump right now.
They want to come after you, but I will protect you. I love you.
If you clipped this coverage and sent it to your aunt, Dan Scavino would have my Trump shoes by tomorrow morning.
I know, you're so right. In many ways, I am like Jesus Christ.
Also, I love defending Trump, so I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Go off. The way I see it is this is like a pressure valve for liberals so they can feel happy. You know what I mean? So they can feel great about, yeah, we did it. We did something.